Six-pack abs, six-figure salary, 6 feet tall are commonly preached as the standard in the red pill community for what women want, among other things. And while it does encourage men to work on themselves to become more sexually valuable in the marketplace, how does this stack up against the Bible when it comes to investing, both in finance and in relationships? So just to preface, my background in the red pill stems from what I've learned from watching the videos of Entrepreneurship in Cars, which is Rich Cooper and Rollo Tomasi, who are both big YouTubers on the platform. And for my life as a Christian, it's been around a year and 3 months now since I've converted to a Christian from living a life of being an atheist. So to answer our Bible versus red pill question on investing, we first have to start off on how do men actually get into the red pill? So for me, this all started when a girl that I was seeing basically just broke it off with me and started seeing another guy. I was flabbergasted, I was heartbroken, and I started looking for answers on why. And that's how I ventured into the red pill community. And in the red pill community, I found out what turned women off. It was always calling them, texting them, communicating with them, not giving them the chance to come to you, wonder about you, trying to dig into a mystery of who you are. On top of that, I was also putting women on a pedestal and acting very emotional, acting very weak, and I learned all that good stuff in red pill community. So I would say that part is the good part of the red pill community because it really teaches you self-responsibility, self-improvement, how to be a strong man rather than a weak man, and how to be attractive. And the most important lesson was how to chase a purpose rather than woman. Now, that's the good part of the red pill. There is also a bad part of red pill. And the bad part consists of a lot of hurt men basically treating divorcees, girls with tattoos, and girls with a high body count, not as humans or women anymore, but simply as objects. And I feel like I can go as far as saying that there are some to take it to extremes, that if you are not a virgin, then you are not worthy of love. And I think that line of thinking just inflates the male ego so much that the guy living in his mother's basement with no job and no prospect thinks that he is so good that he deserves someone like Sydney Sweeney. So it really skews the self-evaluation of oneself. And what ends up happening is that a lot of these men they don't attract the woman that they want living in their mom's basement. And they will go back to the red pill community and consume a lot of the negative and toxic content, the bad part of the red pill community, and it just becomes a death spiral that they get caught up in. And I think that this doesn't just exist for men. Red pill is not just for men. I also think that it exists for women as well. And we call this the modern woman. You know, the woman that has a list that guys must check off in order to date them. And here's the hypocrisy in that. There's preaching that go off that, alright, you're a modern woman and you should be able to sleep with how many guys you want, whenever and with whoever you want. And they will say that, alright, it's okay to sleep with a guy that you don't like. If you're horny, then you can just sleep with him. It's a one night stand, it doesn't count. Whereas with the guy that you really like, you have to give him days. You have to make him wait to make sure that he really likes you. And on top of that, he has to check off all the tick boxes on your list before you sleep with him. And for guys, that makes no sense at all because the highest thing that they value is the intimacy. And then what will happen is that a lot of these modern women will find out that they cannot attract and keep the guy that they really want, and what they keep attracting are the guys that only wants the one night stands. And then they caught up in the death spiral again of where have all the good men gone? So let me reiterate, I am a very new, radically saved believer in Jesus. And I'm not here to preach or anything like that because I remember when I was an atheist and I hated that. But what I will say is that back when I was following red pill lessons, my love was conditional. Basically what I thought was, in order for you to obtain my love, I have to be offered sex first. It was a transaction. But with Jesus, that changed. My love is unconditional now. So it doesn't matter whether you're a D or a C, you're tattooed up, or you've been with 100 different men or women. You're all human and you all deserve the same love. And I think where guys get caught up is that just because you love them means that you have to marry them. And that's where I find the difference. Just because you offer everyone the same love doesn't mean that you're gonna go off the next day and marry them. You can actually give someone the same love and never see them again. It's okay. And here's another verse. Be completely humble and gentle. Bear with each other with love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. That is Ephesians 4:2-3. And this is something that I really didn't understand when I was lounging around in the Red Pill community. And what I thought during that time was that I always wanted that really good traditional girl. That was what attracted me, but I kept attracting the wrong woman because what I was giving out was that, all right, I was horny and I wanted my needs fulfilled before offering anything of myself. So what happened was that I just attracted all the wrong women into my life. I was investing time with all the wrong women in my life. And that was one of my biggest regrets, just wasting time like that on people that are not even in my life in this day. And because both of us were self-entitled, it always ended up with both of us just ghosting each other. I remember that during that time, every girl that I saw invested time in was someone that I said to myself in the end, I cannot introduce this girl to my mom. And that time spent investing in the wrong people just goes to show that for the bad part of red pill terminology, it really makes you a poor investor because you're spending time with very crappy returns, and that time could have been used into improving yourself, upping your skills, into making or building some sort of product or service that can ultimately increase your net worth. So how does the Bible approach this? Now, I gotta admit that I'm a rather new Christian. It's been a year and a couple months. But what I understand is that it all starts with love. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. That comes from Galatians 6:2. Basically what it says is to bear each other's burdens. But what I see right now in not just red pill but in modern society is that both women and men think that they should deserve this man or woman, that they should do all of these things for them without them first giving themselves. So it's just an idea of I can take all I want without me giving anything of myself in return. And that is the requirement for love. Seems pretty conditional, doesn't it? So we've talked about the pros and cons of red pill for both men and women. And ultimately, the bad parts really warps the minds of those who participate. When they try to attract the right person and things don't work out, they'll just go back to the red pill community, get some toxic reinforcement, and it screws them up such that in the future, they're unable to attract the person that they really want. And it's a trap because it's really, really hard to escape from, and it took me a while to realize. Because when I was in the red pill community, I was just focused on going through a circle of dates, date after date, date after date, and none of them were successful. But what was happening at the same time was I was just so focused on that I was spending money on dates that were going nowhere, and I was spending not only money but a lot of time as well. And all that time and money could have been better spent maybe leveling up skills, self-improvement, or even putting it into the S&P 500. So I became not only broke in money but broke in time, because dating, guys, is expensive. So having dabbled in the red pill community and having been part of the faith community, what have I learned between the two? Well, if you are investing in a relationship, I feel from my personal experience that living according to the Bible is more worthwhile. The people that you meet there are gentle, kind, good natured, very loving, very faithful. And what I feel is that the women there tend to not have as much history. Whereas compared to red pill and what they preach, the way I live my life now tends to repel those people. And instead of myself going down a path of having a conditional transactional relationship. Now the relationship is more about giving. Regardless of who the person is, you're just giving. The plans of the diligent surely live to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely leads to poverty. That's Proverbs 21:5. So I was talking to an acquaintance of mine, and he is a self-proclaimed Christian, but he also lives a pretty red-pilled lifestyle right now, and he is attracting a lot of red-pill women. And from what I can tell, he is very frustrated because he's getting a lot of dates. He's going on a lot of dates, but they're all going nowhere. And what he's doing is he's blowing through a lot of cash because he's paying for those dates, but he has nothing to show for it, because what he expects is he has this condition, self-set condition, that they have to have SEX in the first 2 dates or else he's just gonna cut it off. And that's what I see as haste leading to poverty. Now, I'm not putting him down or anything, because that is his way of investing right now, and that used to be the way I invested as well. But I just found that it really led to nowhere, and at the end of the day, it left me unfulfilled and out of several $100s from my wallet. And that's because the purpose of the investment is different. For him, it is the SEX, whereas nowadays for me, the purpose is to figuring out whether this person can potentially be the mother of my children. And that's a whole different video topic on itself. But right now, I feel like if you can make it past 2 dates, then I think that it's a sign of diligence leading to profit. And remember earlier I said you can give everyone the same love? Well, I think that if you invest like that, what ultimately happens is that you tend to attract the people that are good for you. And those people want to invest in you both relationally and financially. So going back to our question in the beginning of how does red pill ideology stack up against the Bible when it comes to personal finance and relationships. So here's what I think. If you want to have SEX with multiple partners and spend money on people that probably won't be there tomorrow or next week, then red pill is probably for you. But if you're interested in something more long term, you want to have something more fulfilling, and you want to keep your wallet intact on investing on people that's gonna be with you for maybe years, then I think the way of the Bible is the way to go. Now, if you want to know why I think red pill will financially destroy men, then please check out the last video that I made right here.